So, I want to tell you a little bit about Christmas and the rest of my time after San Diego. I came back. I barely, barely made it back to Portland from Las Vegas. So I went San Diego to Las Vegas, and Las Vegas had finally thawed out. I guess they got snow while I was in San Diego, and they had finally had some flights going. So in Las Vegas, we all boarded the plane and we're like, yes, we're barely beating the snow in Portland, and they're finally. Sorry, this is my Tamagotchi um, beeping. I just reset it. So anyway, where was I? Oh, so we were like, yes, we're barely beating the snowstorm that's going to hit Portland again. They had just opened up Portland again, and then it was about to close as soon as they got a few more inches of snow. So we were barely going to make it, and then they got on the loudspeaker and said, after 45 minutes of sitting on the plane, they said, oh, so this plane is broken. There's something wrong with the flying equipment, or, like they made it very vague but official sounding, and they said, oh, it's you know, we're gonna try to find an empty plane, like like they're gonna have an empty plane somewhere randomly, um, and then you guys can uh, get on that plane and fly there. So um, we sat there for another hour or so, maybe only 45 minutes on top of the other 45 minutes. Um, I was sitting next to a very drunk deaf guy. That was kind of awkward because he smelled pretty bad from alcohol, and I couldn't talk to him, and I don't know. I like to talk to people on planes, so that was kind of weird. Um, but the guy next to me was funny, and he was like, "Oh yay, I'm glad we get to stay another night in Vegas. There's so many parties going on and stuff." And it was kind of funny. So, um, anyway, they get back on the loudspeaker and say, um, we can't make it to Portland, but we're going to fly this broken plane that you are currently on to Phoenix, and then get on an empty plane there, and if it hasn't snowed too much in Portland, we'll fly from Phoenix to Portland. And we're like, great! That's fantastic. So it worked out fine. I guess it must have been, it's either something to do with antifreeze properties of the plane because Portland was frozen but Phoenix wasn't, or it had to do with altitude equipment because they only had to fly 45 minutes to Phoenix, so I don't think they go as high. Um, I sure sound intelligent for a mechanical engineer, don't I? But anyway, they were just so vague with it, and I really want to know what was wrong with the plane, but that's all I can figure. So we made it fine to Phoenix, got on the plane, made it fine to Portland, and meanwhile, Ed was driving to Portland to pick me up, and it took him a really long time. It took him 2.5 times longer. No, almost 3 times. Yeah, 3 times longer than it would have taken normally to get to Portland. And then we ate at Sherry's and drove back, which took a little bit longer than it took for him to get there. So it was a very long time for him to be driving in the snow. It was snowy all over Oregon, everywhere, and Washington, and the roads were completely, the main road was closed, and it was a mess. And we packed up that night and left the next day for my hometown, And that took us not quite as long as I thought it would have been. It was a little less than twice as long as usual. So, yeah, we made it back in time for his parents' New Year's Eve party, and the dress I had brought for that was Ed's choice, and it was definitely way too dressy. But, you know, I'd rather be overdressed than underdressed, I guess, so that was interesting. But, it was kind of, I don't know, I felt a little uncomfortable, but anyway, so we spent the rest of the break in town. Oh, so I wanted to show you, you guys are gonna think I'm really spoiled. And I am really spoiled. But, anyway, in addition to the weights that Ed bought me and the Tamagotchi thing that keeps on beeping at me, and now it's asleep, Ed got me a really nice pair of headphones and Oakleys. I would never even think to buy myself Oakleys, but he bought them for me, and I didn't even realize I wanted them until I had them. No, Ed's really good at listening to what I want and need, and I was complaining last summer, I think, about how I can never find girls' glasses that are polarized, and so you always have to buy guys' glasses for driving. I guess they assume girls never drive and don't need polarized lenses. Or fish. I mean, they're great for fishing and stuff. So, anyway, these are polarized. Oh, and then my other complaint was you can never find rose-colored or warm-colored polarized lenses. They're usually blue, gray, or green lenses. And he found warm-colored female-style sunglasses for me. But they happen to be Oakleys, and that's way more luxurious than I would ever think to get myself. So that's very, very thoughtful of him. And I've never met a guy who can listen to what people need. He did the same thing for his sister. He's always really good at buying gifts. Like, I don't know. Never met a guy that good at buying gifts. So, anyway, that's what he got me. And I got a bunch of other cool stuff, and I felt pretty good about what I gave people, but Ed's gift, I feel bad. He was so thoughtful with my gift, but I could not, for the life of me, think of what to get him. So, what I wanted to get him was a GPS, but he got himself one before I could, and I couldn't really afford the one he wanted anyway. So he bought himself one and was talking about how he really wanted the next model up, but he couldn't justify spending that much money for just the few extra features it gave him. And so I just paid him for the upgrade so he could get the nicer one, and I paid for the difference between the two models, which was kind of crappy. And I also gave him a pair of really versatile outdoorsy pants for skiing and kayaking and stuff. Swix Universal pants. They're really, really good. And I have a pair, and hopefully he'll get to use them when he does outdoorsy stuff with me, because hopefully I'll get him to do outdoorsy stuff soon. As soon as I make time for myself to do outdoorsy stuff. So, anyway, long video, and I think I'm going to make one more tonight. So, thanks for listening.